What is up, people? Another day, another video. So that's another moment of motivation. And honestly, today's video or today's message comes from something that's been ringing around in my head and in my heart recently about where we are in society and how we live life, like the rules that we live by. And recently, I taught on a session in our young adults at church and on the topic of adjusting your algorithm. We looked at what an algorithm means, we looked at what that then can mean in terms of the parallels with life and the set of instructions that we live by and the outcomes that we're seeing. And what I found was that many of us have adjustments to make. Many of us have found ourselves in predicaments or at the end of a situation facing consequences based on the actions, the instructions, the rules that we've been living by that weren't in accordance with, in my personal opinion and belief, in accordance with God's will for our lives. And even if you take faith out of it for a moment, many of us are living by a code of conduct that has no moral value. And we expect great results in life, but we're not willing to live with a good moral compass, or we're not willing to live by rules that are morally right. Now, you could even say, well, we all have different standards. Yes, we all have different standards. But even in that, there is a set of standards, or is a standard that should be set that should enable you to reach a greater destination, a greater height in your life. But what's actually stopping you, what's actually forcing the hand of life against you, is the fact that you are living according to an algorithm that I would say is being abused or misused. An algorithm that, in my opinion, and again, this is all opinion because I don't know anything about your life, but if I look at what's going on in some of the lives of those around me, I'd say that their algorithm has been fed so much with foolishness that they're only living according to the foolishness that they're fed with. Because again, an algorithm works based on the fact that the platforms are there. And if we're paralleling that to life, we are a database, but then what's being input into our database, we have to be careful. And whatever's being input and whatever's being regurgitated, as one of my friends once said, what's being automated in our life is based on what we're feeding it, but what it's feeding us. And over time, there becomes this cyclical nature of just wrong living, or living that isn't in accordance with who you are meant to be and what you are meant to be doing. So I say all of that to say that I think it's very imperative that we take stock of where we're at, that we actually are honest with ourselves, that we look at what's going on around us, we look at the life that we're living, and we ask ourselves that question of, well, am I meant to be doing this? Am I meant to be watching this? Am I meant to be saying this? Am I meant to be hanging with these people? Is this tainting who I'm meant to be? And if it is, maybe, just maybe, it's time you adjust your algorithm. You change things around you. Like we said the other day about changing the way you think. Nothing changes until you change. First, it starts with your thoughts and then it goes into your actions. You've got to stop feeding the very things that are bringing you down. And with that being said, hopefully you understand the message. And I just want to remind you one more time, maybe, just maybe, it's time that you adjust your algorithm. Peace.